The long-handled dipper gourd. I'm very excited about all the gourds I got this season. I did buy seeds for the long-handled type, and I ended up getting the regular dipper gourds too, and that is because these will cross-pollinate. Squashes will cross-pollinate gourds. They won't cross-pollinate with pumpkins or cucumbers, but they will with others. So if I'm lucky enough, potentially I could harvest some seed from the long-handled gourds, dipper gourds that I really love, and see if I can grow those true to type. But I have a feeling, just like the seed seller, when they gave me those seeds, it ended up being like a hybrid type. They cross-pollinated. I can make a bunch of things with these, and I can't decide what to do with it. I could just leave them as is. Once they're dry, make sort of a display on the wall. That would be kind of neat. Or I could make a birdhouse. I could actually make a dipper. I could carve out one side, and they are kind of long-handled, so I don't know what I would use them to dip. I don't know what I would dip, but that is an idea. If it's a birdhouse, wrens, chickadees, swallows, bluebirds, nuthatches all love birdhouses made from gourds, and if I were to do this, I would drill some holes in the bottom for drainage and maybe some in the side to make sure that the gourd doesn't rot. If you're going to do that, what would you do with these gourds? It's interesting because once you have these awesome gourds, you don't want to ruin them. Crafts, you could burn designs on them, you could carve designs on them, paint. You could have a little painting party with family over the holidays. Maybe instead of doing gingerbread houses, we paint gourds. That would be kind of fun. And I'd probably choose not to do a Christmas theme because I would like to use the gourds all year round. Or just leave them as is, because look at the marbled pattern. It's so neat. And when you scrub the outside of a gourd, you will reveal the hard shell. Believe it or not, this here isn't necessarily going to be the final layer. You can take a diluted bleach solution, 10% bleach, so 10 parts water, 1 part bleach, and kind of apply that to the gourd if you find that the gourds are starting to rot. But if you take a fan and you have that fan going, I found this is a quicker way to dry gourds without them rotting versus putting them in the garage, laying them flat. And I can rotate these. This is at record time. This was green a month ago. So I'm pretty excited because it could take a year for gourds to totally dry. And I'm starting to get some right now. Yes, I am using electricity, but it's a trade-off. I really prize these gourds. They took a long time to grow, at least 100 days, more like 120 or more. And once they're grown, you don't want to lose them. And that's why I took them in when we got our first frost. So yeah, the long-handled dipper gourd, you get about 15 gourds per plant. I can attest to that, at least 15 gourds per plant. I had only 2 plants, and it took over. That hoop house outside took it over and took over my garden. Next time I grow gourds, I will have that in another location because it went all over my tomatoes. The vines started wrapping around my fig tree. Very cool thing to grow, really fun. It takes a little patience, but they grow like a weed. Once they started growing, I did not fertilize. I use really good compost, and that's all I do for most of my plants. I start with compost, and I don't really fertilize during the growing season. You can plant those right after the last frost. Maybe for you, it'll be April, May timeframe, but check your records locally. When is your last frost? Then you can plant those seeds. I plant them directly. I don't even start them inside first. I planted these in straw bales, and they grew. Plant them right after the last frost, and then you harvest the gourds right before. Wait as long as possible. Keep them on the vine as long as possible. You want those stems to turn brown. Be careful because these will fall. Once this turns brown, they'll start to get a little weak and they'll fall on the ground. So I put a wheelbarrow underneath my most prized ones with some grass cuttings. So I would have some little pillow for them to fall on if they did go off. And then right before the frost, I took them in. I was too worried. I didn't want to keep them out there because we have some weird weather, rain, ice, that kind of thing, and they were pretty exposed out there. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at all these cool gourds. The next time I grow them, I will try to force a little bit of a curve on some of them, and we'll see. Check back, this next summer, 2024, and see if I was able to grow these same long bottle gourds, trying to reduce the number of these type and get more of the long-handled ones. Also coming up is an update on how I propagate fiddle-leaf figs like a madwoman, and it works amazing. You can propagate fiddle-leaf figs too. From the store, the single-branched ones, you can make multiple branches. You can also cut the tops off and make more fig trees, so I'll post another video on that coming up.